Stop scrolling right now. Because what just changed with Social Security, SSI, and SSDI could directly impact your wallet starting May 1st, 2026. Millions of Americans are waking up completely unaware that the Social Security Administration has just rolled out critical changes. And if you're receiving benefits or planning to, missing this information could cost you hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Are you getting the full amount you're entitled to? Are your payments about to increase, or worse, get interrupted? Whether you're on SSI, collecting SSDI, or receiving regular Social Security retirement benefits, these updates affect you personally, and the clock is already ticking. Here's what nobody is telling you. These aren't minor adjustments. We're talking potential payment changes, new eligibility rules, updated income limits, and revised application procedures that take effect immediately. The difference between knowing and not knowing could mean the gap between financial stability and unexpected hardship. And trust me, your neighbor doesn't know this. Your family members probably don't know this. But you will, in the next few minutes. We've broken everything down in plain, simple English. No confusing government jargon, no complicated legal language. Just straight facts you need to act on right now before May 1st hits. This video could literally be worth money in your pocket. So before you do anything else today, smash that like button so YouTube pushes this critical information to more people who desperately need it. And let's dive straight in. And look, I want you to understand something right from the start. These changes are not rumors. They are not speculation. This is real, confirmed information that affects real people. People just like you, who are counting on these benefits every single month to pay rent, buy groceries, cover prescriptions, and keep the lights on. So if you've ever felt like the government doesn't give you enough notice about the things that matter most to your daily life, today is your chance to get ahead of it. Today, you are going to walk away from this video knowing exactly what changed, why it changed, and most importantly, what you personally need to do about it before May 1st, 2026 arrives and these updates officially take full effect. Let's start by talking about who is actually affected here, because a lot of people hear Social Security changes and they think it only applies to retirees. That is simply not true. We are talking about three completely separate programs today. Supplemental Security Income, which most people call SSI, Social Security Disability Insurance, which is SSDI, and then the broader Social Security Retirement and Survivor Benefit programs. All three of these programs have seen meaningful changes, and the updates are different for each one. So whether you're a younger person on disability benefits, a senior collecting retirement, or someone caring for a family member who depends on SSI payments, there is something in this video that applies directly to your situation. Please stay with me, because every single section of what I'm about to share matters. Let's begin with SSI, because for many of the most vulnerable Americans, low-income seniors, people with disabilities, and individuals with very limited resources, SSI is the lifeline. It is the program that steps in when someone has little to no income and very few assets. And for decades, many of the rules governing SSI have been frustratingly outdated. We're talking about rules that were written in an era that looks nothing like the world we live in today. Rules about how much money you could have in a bank account. Rules about whether a friend or family member helping you pay rent could reduce your benefit. Rules about what counts as income and what doesn't. Many of these rules had not been meaningfully updated in over 40 years, which is remarkable when you think about how much the cost of living has changed in just the last decade alone. Here is what has changed, and this is genuinely good news for people on SSI. The Social Security Administration has officially updated and modernized several of the most burdensome SSI rules. One of the biggest and most talked about changes involves what's called In-kind support and maintenance, or ISM.
Under the old rules, if you were on SSI and someone helped you out, maybe a family member let you live with them, or a friend helped cover your utility bills, the government could actually reduce your SSI payment because of that help. They counted it as a form of income. Think about how backwards that sounds. Someone tries to help you, and the government penalizes you for it by cutting your check. That was the reality for millions of SSI recipients for a very long time. And it was one of the cruelest and most counterproductive rules in the entire benefits system. Under the new changes, the SSA has significantly reformed how in-kind support and maintenance is counted and treated. This means that if someone helps you with housing costs or daily living expenses, it is far less likely to result in a reduction to your SSI benefit. For people who have been quietly accepting less help from loved ones just to protect their payment, this is a transformative change. You may now be able to accept more support from family and friends, without the fear that your benefit check will shrink as a result. Another significant SSI update involves the way the program handles rental subsidies and housing arrangements. Previously, the rules around living with others and sharing household expenses were incredibly complicated and often penalized people for living in affordable situations. The reforms that have now been put in place simplify these calculations and make it much less likely that your living arrangement will trigger a benefit reduction. This matters enormously because housing is the #1 expense for most people on SSI, and the old rules were actively making it harder for recipients to find affordable housing solutions. Now let's talk about SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, because this program has its own set of important updates that you need to know about. SSDI is different from SSI in a fundamental way. It is an earned benefit, meaning it's tied to your work history and the Social Security taxes you paid during your working years. You don't have to be low income to qualify for SSDI, but you do have to have a qualifying disability and a sufficient work record. Millions of Americans rely on SSDI as their primary source of income after a serious illness or injury prevents them from working. And the updates to this program could significantly impact your monthly payment amount and your ability to work part-time while still receiving benefits. One of the most critical SSDI updates involves what's called Substantial Gainful Activity, or SGA. This is the threshold that the Social Security Administration uses to determine whether someone is working too much to qualify for disability benefits. If you earn above this threshold from work, you can be considered no longer disabled under Social Security's rules, and your benefits can be affected. The SGA amount is adjusted periodically, and the new figures that took effect represent a meaningful increase. For non-blind SSDI recipients, the monthly SGA threshold has been raised. This is important because it means you can earn a bit more from part-time or limited work without automatically putting your SSDI benefits at risk. For many people who have been afraid to try working even a few hours a week because they feared crossing the earnings line and losing their benefits, this updated threshold provides a little more breathing room. Related to this is the trial work period, which is one of the most misunderstood parts of SSDI. The Social Security Administration actually allows disability recipients to test their ability to return to work without immediately losing their benefits. During a trial work period, you can work and earn any amount for up to 9 months within a rolling 60-month period, and your SSDI benefits will generally continue. The monthly amount that triggers a trial work period month has also been updated, and knowing this new figure is critical if you are considering testing the waters with employment. Too many SSDI recipients don't even know the trial work period exists, or they think returning to work at any level will immediately end their benefits. That is not how it works, and the updated thresholds make this provision even more valuable for 2026.
There's also been a very important shift in how SSDI recipients are treated during continuing disability reviews. The SSA is required by law to periodically review disability cases to make sure recipients still qualify. These reviews can be stressful and sometimes feel threatening, especially for people who have been on benefits for years and are terrified of losing them. The updated policies place greater emphasis on medical improvement standards and allow more time for recipients and their representatives to respond and provide updated medical documentation. If you have a CDR, a continuing disability review, scheduled or coming up, understanding how these procedural changes work in your favor is essential. Make sure you are working with your doctor to keep your medical records current and that any changes in your condition, positive or negative, are thoroughly documented. Now let's move into regular Social Security retirement benefits, because the changes here affect tens of millions of Americans, and the ripple effects will be felt across entire families. The most visible and widely discussed change is the cost of living adjustment, known as the COLA. Each year, Social Security benefits are adjusted based on inflation to help recipients maintain their purchasing power. For 2026, the COLA has been applied, and while the exact percentage reflects economic conditions, what matters practically is how that translates into real dollars added to your monthly payment. For some retirees, this increase will be a few extra dollars a month. For others, depending on their benefit amount, it could be a more noticeable boost. The key thing to understand is that this adjustment is automatic. You do not need to apply for it or notify Social Security. If you are already receiving retirement benefits, the new amount should already be reflected in your payments. However, there's a catch that many people don't realize, and this is something I really want you to pay attention to. Medicare Part B premiums are also adjusted each year, and for most Social Security recipients, those premiums are deducted directly from their Social Security check. So when your COLA goes up, your net increase, the actual amount that hits your bank account, may be smaller than you expected, because Medicare Part B premiums often increase at the same time. This is sometimes called the hold harmless issue, and it catches people off guard every single year. Before you assume your check is going up by a specific amount, you need to verify your actual net benefit after Medicare deductions. You can do this by logging into your My Social Security account online, or by checking the benefit verification letter that the SSA mails out at the beginning of the year. Another change that affects retirees specifically involves the earnings test for people who are collecting Social Security before their full retirement age while still working. If you are under full retirement age and you earn more than a certain threshold from work, Social Security temporarily withholds some of your benefits. The earnings limit has been adjusted for 2026, which means you can earn a bit more before benefits get withheld. And I want to be very clear about something here, because this is another point of widespread confusion. The money that gets withheld is not lost forever. The SSA actually recalculates your benefit once you reach full retirement age and credits you for the months your payment was withheld. So while it can feel like a penalty in the short term, it is really more of a deferral. Understanding this mechanism can dramatically change how you think about working during your early retirement years. Speaking of full retirement age, there is an important long-term consideration that every younger worker needs to understand, even if you're not close to retirement yet. The full retirement age for Social Security has been gradually increasing for people born after 1960. If you were born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67, not 65 as many people assume. Claiming benefits before your full retirement age results in a permanent reduction to your monthly payment. And claiming after your full retirement age earns you delayed retirement credits that increase your payment. These are lifetime decisions with massive financial consequences, and too many Americans make them without fully understanding the trade-offs. The changes and clarifications issued for 2026 reinforce the importance of strategic claiming, and the SSA has made updated planning tools available to help you model different scenarios before you decide. Now I want to talk about something that affects SSI, SSDI, and regular Social Security recipients equally, and that is the issue of overpayments. Because this is a topic that has caused enormous distress for benefits recipients across the board. And there have been significant policy changes in how the SSA handles overpayments.
An overpayment happens when the SSA pays you more than you are entitled to receive, sometimes because of an administrative error, sometimes because your income or living situation changed and you didn't report it in time, and sometimes because of complicated circumstances that are genuinely no one's fault. In the past, the SSA could move aggressively to recover overpayments, sometimes withholding a very large percentage of your monthly benefit, or in extreme cases, the entire check, until the debt was repaid. For someone living on a fixed income, losing a significant portion of their monthly payment could be absolutely devastating. The good news is that the SSA has made meaningful changes to its overpayment recovery policies. The default withholding rate for recovering overpayments has been reduced significantly, meaning that if you are found to have been overpaid, the SSA will generally withhold a much smaller percentage of your benefit to recover the debt over time, rather than taking a large chunk all at once. This change was driven by widespread recognition that the old approach was causing genuine hardship, and that recovering overpayments slowly is better than pushing vulnerable people into financial crisis. If you have received an overpayment notice from the SSA, or if you receive one in the future, you have important rights, including the right to request a waiver if the overpayment was not your fault and recovery would cause you financial hardship. You also have the right to request reconsideration if you believe the overpayment determination is incorrect. These rights have not changed, but the updated recovery policies make the situation far less immediately threatening than it once was. There is also an important update around the reporting requirements for SSI and SSDI recipients. One of the conditions of receiving these benefits is that you are required to report certain changes in your life to the Social Security Administration. Things like changes in income, changes in your living situation, changes in your marital status, and changes in your medical condition for SSDI recipients. The SSA has been working to modernize and simplify the reporting process, making it easier to submit updates online through the My Social Security portal. This matters because failing to report required changes is one of the most common causes of overpayments, and getting into a better habit of timely reporting protects you from future headaches. If you have not yet created a My Social Security account online, I strongly encourage you to do that as soon as possible. It is free, it is secure, and it gives you direct access to your benefit information, earnings history, and more. Let me also address something that comes up constantly in the comments and questions I hear from viewers. And that is the question of whether Social Security is going broke and whether these benefits will still exist in the future. I am going to be straight with you about this because you deserve honesty. The Social Security trust funds do face long-term financial challenges. The trustee reports have consistently shown that without legislative action, the combined trust funds could face depletion within the next decade, which could result in reduced benefits if Congress does nothing. However, and this is very important, Social Security does not simply disappear if the trust funds are depleted. The program would still collect payroll tax revenue and would be able to pay a significant portion of scheduled benefits. And historically, Congress has always acted to address Social Security financing issues before they reach a crisis point, because the political consequences of cutting Social Security benefits are enormous. So while it is right to be aware of the long-term financial picture, it is not accurate or helpful to assume that Social Security is simply going to vanish. What the current environment does underscore, though, is the importance of making smart claiming decisions now.
maximizing your benefits under current rules, and staying informed about policy changes as they happen. Which brings me to what you should actually do right now, today. Because information without action is just noise. The single most important thing you can do after watching this video is to go to the official Social Security Administration website and log into or create your My Social Security account. From there, you can see your current benefit amount, verify your earnings history, check the status of any pending applications, and access personalized estimates of what your future benefits could look like under different scenarios. If you are already receiving benefits, check your payment amount against what it should be under the updated rules. And if something looks off, contact the SSA directly. If you are not yet receiving benefits but think you might qualify for SSI, SSDI, or retirement, the SSA's online tools can help you understand your options before you ever speak to anyone. If you have a complex situation, if you are navigating multiple programs, if you have a pending appeal, if you received an overpayment notice, or if you are trying to decide the optimal time to claim retirement benefits, please consider reaching out to a Social Security benefits counselor or an attorney who specializes in this area. Many nonprofit organizations offer free benefits counseling, and the investment of a single consultation can save you thousands of dollars in the long run. Do not try to navigate the most complicated aspects of the system alone if you don't have to. And finally, share this information. I mean that sincerely. There are people in your life, a parent, a sibling, a neighbor, a friend, who is receiving these benefits and has absolutely no idea that any of this changed. The Social Security Administration sends letters, but those letters are confusing, they get buried, and they don't always explain the practical implications in plain language. You, right now, have information that could genuinely make a difference in someone else's financial life. Send them this video. Tell them to watch it before May 1st. Because knowing what changed, understanding your rights, and taking a few simple steps to verify your benefits could be worth real money and real peace of mind for you and for the people you care about. Thank you so much for staying with me through this entire video. If this helped you, if it answered questions you've had, if it gave you even one thing you didn't know before, please take 2 seconds and give this video a like. It tells YouTube that this information is valuable and helps us reach more people who genuinely need it. Drop a comment below telling me which update surprised you the most, or ask any question you still have, and I will do my best to answer it. And make sure you are subscribed with the bell notification turned on, because these policies continue to evolve, and when something changes that affects your benefits, you are going to want to know about it immediately. Stay informed, stay empowered, and we will see you in the next one.